Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests, panelists, entrepreneurs, and enthusiasts, a warm and sincere welcome to the AI panel at eSummit 2024. I am Aryan Prakhar, your host for this enlightening session. I am Relations Associate at eSummit. Today, we are having a panel discussion titled Techvolution, India, the AI Search and Startup Symphony. Your presence here truly honors us as we embark on a fascinating exploration on the world of artificial intelligence. And our journey today promises to unravel the invaluable insights in the dynamic landscape of AI, specifically its significant role in the thriving startup ecosystem. I now invite the panelists to take the position on the stage and grace the podium. Before we delve into the intellectual depths, I want to extend a heartfelt appreciation to the panelists to be a part of this esteemed gathering. eSummit has been a beacon for groundbreaking ideas, where sharp minds converge to explore the forefront of technology and entrepreneurship. Today is no exception, as we are privileged to have industry titans, pioneers who have reshaped the domains at the front end of technology. Their extensive experience and profound knowledge are set to inspire and ignite us all. Now, I am delighted to invite Vanshika, the Associate VP at eCell, to felicitate these trailblazers at the realm of deep tech. Firstly, we have industry leader and visionary in the dynamic landscape of cloud technology, Mr. Udit, Chief Operating Officer at Google Cloud India. Next, we have luminary in the field of AI, Mr. Mohit Seva, Principal AI Researcher at Microsoft. Next up, we have extraordinary innovator and entrepreneur, Mr. Somesh Jaswal, the founder at MegaShark and distinguished graduate of IIT CHU and MIT. Next in the lineup, we have astute professional in the world of investments, Mr. Dhanush Ram, Investment Manager at Special Invest. And at last, but certainly not the least, we have thought leader who has been instrumental in innovating the forefront of AI, Mr. Vivek Prakash, Product Manager growth at Instabase, and is also moderator at this session. As a leader in tech industry, he is well equipped to guide through this session. Vivek sir, can you take the session forward?
Sure, thank you so much for the lovely introduction and warm hospitality. And good evening, everyone. We'll take this ahead, but before that, we are going to keep it interactive. Keep your questions ready for the esteemed panelists, because I think the insights that you're going to gain today is going to be very valuable. And of course, you should thank your alma mater for organizing and actually inviting all of them here in front of you in person. So I think AI does not need any introduction, and I will not be wasting lots of time telling you what generative AI or current intelligent AI, what we have right now, is. And it's a great topic, the AI Search and Startup Symphony, because anything that you aim to build, you are going to work for, you're going to think about in your future will have AI's role somewhere involved. It can be chemistry, it can be biology, it can be mechanical, it can be civil. Like how Google and Microsoft, like companies and their tools, played a vital role in your entire education journey till date. I think AI is going to play a similar kind of role throughout your professional journey from here onwards. So, adoption is going to be across all the domains and all the landscapes, none of the fields across. I think, so it's not the AI which is going to eat up jobs. It would be people who do not adapt AI. They are going to lose it. So, without much ado, I would like to start. I would again welcome all the esteemed panelists here. and I would request each of them to kindly introduce themselves one by one. Maybe we can start from my extreme left, and we can come this way. Hello. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for coming, and great pleasure to be in college, and that too on an entrepreneur summit, right? So thanks for having us. So I'm Danush. I'm part of a venture capital called Kasha. So we invest in deep tech companies like space tech, robotics, quantum, in software, generative AI, and other things that we are interested in. We predominantly invest in pre-seed and seed. Check size is up to $1 million. I'm being an entrepreneur before this. Now in the other side of the table, trying to see what are the exciting companies founders as building right now. Looking forward to interact with everyone and looking forward for this panel.
Thank you, Danush. Thank you for setting this up. And hi, I'm Somesh. I remember a few years back I was sitting in your chairs. I'm an alum of IIT BHU. During my time at IIT BHU, I started a company called Jazz Nanotech, with which I had an exit recently. And then I started my MS and MBA journey at MIT. Post that, I started my company called Maker Shots at MIT. And we have been building Maker Shots. We have been in the applications of AI for manufacturing and supply chains. So the search of AI is such that the things that could usually take 6 months to 2 years for establishing manufacturing supply chains, with our solution we do it within a week. The next week you can actually have the products ready, and that's the kind of power of AI that's kind of happening at this particular point. I think we'll talk more about it as we move forward. Once again, thank you so much for hosting us.
Good evening, everyone. I was just talking to Sumesh. We are more informal than all of you sitting here. So, good to see at least on the other side of the table, although it takes me 25 years back. So definitely you can see from my hair that I'm that much old. But 35 years back, I was sitting on that other side. Good to see that at least when I spoke to a lot of people today, I think AI is definitely something which everybody knows. It's not something which nobody knows. About me, I lead the strategy and operations for Google Cloud India. I don't think I need to talk about what Google does. Right? I can talk about more in the discussion. But there's one thing I can definitely say: there's a lot of energy happening across the students. Right? I spoke to a lot of folks today, and one thing I can take away definitely after interacting a lot of you, a lot of interesting ideas are coming up from this student sitting there. So looking forward to a discussion and engagement. Thank you.
So I'm Dr. Mohit Devar. So I present my research part of AI, and I see a lot of enthusiasm, especially in the research fraternity and higher studies fraternity, on moving towards higher end of AI in terms of research. That is very encouraging for me, because sometime back when I used to visit the colleges or other research hubs, it was mostly about getting the job, getting placed into very good companies. But now I see a very clear focus on what value that I can add in terms of getting to new cutting edge. In fact, like sometime back we had like Sam Altman making a comment in India that didn't go well, and after that I see a lot of more like pinpointed comments from researchers that we want to do something, and that's very encouraging for me. In Microsoft, I am a principal AI researcher. To be very specific, I work towards security and compliance. And doing so, we also come across a lot of areas where we talk about security for AI, the responsibility from AI, and how we protect your AI models, and how we use AI to protect a lot of different things, which is also very interesting. Again, we'll talk more about it.
Okay, I'm Vivek, and I work as product manager at Enspace. Primarily, we process all the long documents. So, if there is a new car that is onboarded at Uber, or you're getting a loan at some bank, in US, then it is processed by Instabase. And we have a theory, I think this can give you some spark that, AI is completely right now on public data. What about one AI tool for IIT BHU itself, where when you come in, you can just see everything, maybe I think last 103 years of information, because it's there somewhere. Somebody just needs to digitize it, put some LLM, some intelligent method so that the model understands it, and then it's a cakewalk for every student to just write a simple prompt in English language, and you get all the information that you seek for. So Instabase is working towards something like we make world's unstructured data into insights instantly. Of course, we are going to talk more about it. So the AI opportunity, how we see it for you all, since you all are, I think, second year, third year, fourth year students, I think this is something for you. AI is futuristic. It is going to stay. And it is going to stay for a long, long time. So I think I'll start with Mr. Somesh here, that in your experience of when you're building Mega Sharks, how has AI enabled you to, address the market needs in a novel way? Not in an aggressive way, but, maintaining all the balances altogether.
Oh, well, you see, specifically in the manufacturing landscape, if you look at it in which you are working, there are many problems which were very trivial decisions, but they took a lot of time on the ends of the users. Like for instance, let's say I want to finalize on a manufacturer, I would usually people would kind of go to Google, try to look for certain capabilities, and try to work towards and finalizing a particular manufacturer with the capabilities that they need. With AI, these trivial decisions can be negated completely. Right? These trivial decisions that would usually take probably 3 to 4 days or even more, and in companies that are small, were completely negated with the kind of data set or the kind of models we have at this particular point. So I feel the availability of data sets, the availability of the capabilities, and the availability of the open source data, not just data, even the open source algorithms that are available, have made it extremely easy for the trivial decisions to be taken place with the help of AI. So I feel this is something novel that could not just for MakerSharks but also for any other company that could kind of help us in further probably easing the decision making process for each and everything that we kind of play with.
Yeah, I totally resonate with your thought. Like for research and analytics, when you have the database already, like maybe some kind of data, you can just get the insights out of it easily, which required lots of manpower, time, as well as I think this is more efficient and error free. So
Absolutely.
yes,
Absolutely.
So coming to you, Mr. Udit Goyal. So from your perspective at Google Cloud, the giant, how we call it in itself, what are the key trends that is driving AI adoption in the startup ecosystem? Because I think what you see from Google Cloud perspective gives the overall glimpse of the entire market, I believe. So I would love to listen to that from you.
Okay, I think before I start about the trends, let me talk about my own personal story. I think I was talking to the media a few hours back. In 1998, when I was doing my thesis was on AI. Please don't laugh at it. That was the time when I started. I was doing my final year project. It was a Urdu text recognition. Because we have no models, nothing. Only one research paper which is showing text propagation algorithm. That's it. There was no internet that time. Only text paper. That's what my talk gave me. And I coded the entire algorithm, get the data set, make the Urdu characters, everything worked. And that was a real test to make sure how it gets trained. 1 month passed, 2 months passed, 3 months, almost 5 months passed, and I was not able to train. I used all the hardware that was available. Tech alpha machines, Linux machines, everything was there at that time, but they were not able to train. And I was not sure whether it's a problem with my code or is it like the problem with the hardware. Finally, we got to know that time this Pentium inside Windows 95 machines came up. One of my classmates, he bought it at home. And I was from a place where I think that time electricity was not there in India because all the places, right? Now you want to train, you have a computer, but you need to make sure the computer is on for the 24 by 7, right? Then only you can get trained. So I put the code onto his machine and then told all his family members don't touch. There was a paper on that computer, do not touch for the next few days. After 8th day, he called me that it has stopped. Because we put a printf statement, something is working, so at least on the screen we know that things are happening. He said stop. I can tell you how much worried I am. There are only two reasons it can stop. That it crashed, right? Which means I'm back to square one, or it got trained. To my luck, it got trained. It took me 6 months to train this. And guess what? A year back, I tried the same thing with reading some Coursera. I was also getting trained on the AI technology on Coursera, and I was trying some examples. I used the same project that I had in my BTech. It took me 5 lines of code, not even 2 seconds to get the result. So that's the real adoption I am seeing from AI. Like coming back from an industry perspective, I think if I talk about AI, right? So whatever we are seeing from an AI perspective, right now we're only seeing it from the lens of consumer or maybe internet companies. We're not talking from the enterprise. Right? So one thing which, if you see any technology goes through as well, the 3 stages of a technology. First is whether it's useful. Second stage is whether, yeah, it's useful but exciting. The third stage is we already used it, now it's working. Right? So I would say from an AI perspective, at least machine learning is sitting in that exciting stage. That yes, we know it's useful, now it needs to be really alive. Gen AI is still in that phase of between the useful and the mixing stage. There's a lot of potential there. But if I really want to talk about the trends, what has happened in the last year, I think I mentioned about my own experience, but the way compute has grown over the last 2 years, if I give you my personal example. Second is the way we have seen the algorithms have grown. That time we have to code the back propagation algorithm. Now you can see anything that you need, you have models in front of you. Right? And the third is the digitization of it. This was not there. These 3 levers have really unlocked the growth of from the AI perspective. But if I think from a startup perspective, right, in the next few years, what they will be focusing on, there are primarily 3 areas which I see that will be a big focus. The first one is, which I mentioned about, AI is presently focused on primarily consumers. The real value of AI will come from when they start focusing on enterprise. And I'm telling you, there's so many use cases we are seeing daily in the even as a company we never thought. I'm sure most will also talk about the use cases which are solving real problems of those enterprises. That's a $1 trillion opportunity for startups. I think one big trend for startups that has to happen is they have to solve those niche problems in the enterprises which will become big. The second piece which I see is a big change that is going to happen in my all honesty is that if you talk about India as a nation, right, we are a billion population. But if I see from a data perspective, we are data poor. We are really data poor. So I think right now whatever AI we are seeing is more on the global side. I think one trend that will definitely happen is a lot of AI companies will start from India, but they're primarily focused on building for India. I'm sure you would have heard of companies like Servam, Covera, Corobol, right? Many startups are coming up with actually building for India. Even I think Ola has also launched. So that's one another trend that I'm seeing definitely happening across the country. And the third thing which I'm seeing is more from the industry's perspective that there are certain industries where a lot of good applications are there, which I think are seeing a lot of traction from the AI. Be it fintech, be it retail, be it healthcare, be it education. I'm sure all our students, there will be some professors and they are teaching you will not get anything. Right? I remember one top professor in ID Delhi. He used to teach us ADA, algorithm. And when you attend his lecture, you come home. That time when you are listening to him, you feel that you know everything. When you go to the hostel, you feel blank. Imagine you have a personal professor available to you at your doorstep, at your fingertips. That is the power of technology that can do. I can see a lot of things going to happen in different industries.
I totally agree. And the students, I think you guys missed on the very important part when he said his story that he built the OCR engine of Urdu way back in 1998. So, yeah. That's commendable. And of course, like the country you all are residing in, everyone around is bullish about India from all angles. Investing perspective, startup perspective, growth perspective. So just look around, find out a problem. I think solutions are there. And you can be the one leading it. So of course, I totally agree to you. Now, Mr. Mohit, so as an AI researcher at Microsoft, what cutting edge AI advancement do you see that is going to impact all the startups in the near future? They adapted, they rejected. What are those crucial factors in AI?
Let me take this question more structurally. So let's understand what are different types of AI, what are different types of startups, their challenges, and how they map to each and every part of the AI ecosystem and for the opportunity. So when we say AI, there are two compartments. One is like a foundational AI, and the second part is the applied AI. So if I'm coming up with a new algorithm, so suppose if I come up with something called transformer generative AI, that will become more from a foundational AI. That again will have two bifurcations, whether it's like a software-based AI you're talking about or hardware of that creators for this AI that you're talking about. So when I call a transformer, like just reading the transformer in terms of okay, it should be like the attention mechanism, this is like a software solution. Be more precise in mathematical. But if I come up with a hardware that will actually run this in a more efficient manner, will consume less energy, less time, that will be more on the hardware side. In the second compartment would come in terms of the applications of those AI. That again will fall into three different compartments. The first part is the technology involved in the application for applied AI technology. So for example, if I have come up with a diffusion model and I actually create a business out of making that diffusion algorithm into something more meaningful that people can use. So for example, I create a service that will use diffusion models and it will take a prompt from you and it will convert a video into some of the mock videos or other things that you might be using. That is one type of company that we talk about. And the second company would be application of these things into specific products. So if I take now this company's output or if I get it from that and I start making products which are ready for people to use. So for example, from the first company I use their services or their algorithms and I actually create a product that marketers can use to actually create marketing services or something like that, given their prompts to whatever they have actually. The third type of application would actually be only applying it to the services or the end consumer applications that we're trying to target. Which is now if I take the services or products from the initial company and I have like specific customers which want to do something with their product and I use that, that will be a third area of the service side application. Now, if we come about the challenges that startups face, at least startups in India face, number one would be like there are three pillars, we'll be talking more about it. But one is the data, the second is the compute, the third is the application for moving the customer. And the fourth part is how do you do it more efficiently and more effectively. Now, the core assets that startups have is the nimbleness. They can move faster and they do not carry a lot of packages that many of the bigger companies actually have, which actually helps them be more competitive. And that is where I see, especially in the application or the applied side of AI, especially in the last two pillars, is where startups, especially the Indian startups, that play a major. And that is where also we see a lot of different companies working, and a lot of different small companies, even service providers, are actually very bullish because they have the manpower. Skilled manpower, they have the direct connect with the customer or the businesses, or if you go like one stage prior, they actually know what their customer bases require or what is actually the problem with the businesses that they cannot scale, and if they can solve that problem using AI, that is where they can also create value. So those two last layers of the applied AI is I see where a lot of different Indian startups can gain, and I also see like a lot of traction.
Yes, so I think we just covered an entire business model where we first try to understand the market fit, then the foundation models, then the approach where we should go to, And I think the last part, which we all are always keen on when we think of startups, is the money part. So let's go to Mr. Dhanush and let me ask him, like, from an investor standpoint, what kind of thought process you have when you think of investing in AI-related startups?
So yeah, Mohit and Udit spoke about how a technology is created, right? So I'm going to take a little step back and show you how an investor thinks from a business standpoint, right? So let's take how we segregate if a new technology comes in, how does an investor look at it? We try to landscape the sector into three different things. One is the application layer, which is the GPT version where everyone is getting used to it, everyone is consuming it, everyone is interacting with, where you can see all your Jaspers of the world or popular AI where you are using it, right? So then the second layer where tooling and the middleware, which is help to build these tools, the application layer. And the third is the foundation layer, where you have all your like foundation models of GPT, Llama, or you have Anthropic, all this type of models are there. So these are the three segments. We try to segregate the landscape into three and see what type of users use this. Let's take the application layer is a larger market, right? Even a developer can use it, even a marketer can use it, even a sales guy can use it. But when it comes to the second layer, which is a tooling or a middleware, it is only operated by a developer. Let's say a developer taking an open source model or a closed source model like GPT and using to fine tune it or train it and then build a use case. Right? So that is another sector. So always when you pick any use case from the industry, try to understand who is your user base and try to understand what type of use cases you can build from that. So then understand what are the problems you have. So that's the segment any investor look at from a large perspective. And then we try to segregate how does the overall landscape is happening. Right now I take a different analogy saying, hey, we live in a world of, everyone knows the analogy of Android versus iPhone, right? Right now it's similar to open source versus closed source. So all the open source models are coming out right now, and you're seeing a lot of closed source models also. You get a chance to experiment and explore all this type of models. So how do you get along with these models is where you are trying to understand what type of use cases you can. So trying to get first from an investor, we try to navigate all this landscape. Then we talk to all these researchers and ecosystem founders to landscape. Okay, where does the exact problem come in? Okay, this is where a large company has built the foundation layer. Then application layer is something a large company like OpenAI has built. Then where does the minute or a niche type of use cases or problems are going to? Then we started interacting and talking to founders to understand where does each and every, like how does you build something meaningful to create something for us, right? So this is the overall landscape we are trying to understand and then build it. So cash is anywhere, right? More like money is the last thing you need to think. First big problem statement and then try to understand what type of use case you want to build. And that's the way you need to think of it from a thing. But if you look at the technology trends, like Udit spoke like in 1990s, right? So he was trying to build a AI tool in that era. When we look at right now, it doesn't take so much time. So that's the transformation we are going in. So if we look at our investment before 3-5 years back, where we invest in companies which are, they were training their own models, which is like literally they were spending a lot of GPUs and a lot of training power because of they are not transform model that was changed like the current generation. Now it has changed. So try to understand what type of technology you are living in and try to pick the right domain and try to build your domain expertise there. That's what you need to understand where you're coming from. So this is the overall spectrum happening in the industry where we are more excited because we see AI is going to transform a lot of use cases, particularly for the businesses. That's where we are excited about. And I feel the developer nation right now in India is like 5.5 million developers in India. Yeah, So I don't know how many developers are there in this group. So we should start doing a lot of research about algorithms, try to understand what are the use case you can solve for. That's where say, the market is moving with. We still don't know. See, again, you have figured out the technology, which is the GPT. Now everyone is building a product. Business is still the early stage, right? Everyone is trying to figure out how can I make money from that, right? So this is the unknown part. Every founder and every even investor, we are also trying to understand whether how business models can be built. So if you're very strong in technology understanding and how you're able to build a product, come on top of that, you can figure out the business model, right? So and everything, like always think from a customer's perspective, right? How do you understand the landscape and then get into the use case and find the business model. So always you need to find what is something will get you there. That's the mindset I would say. So from our investment, let's say last year we did 3 companies. One is building privacy engineering for GPT. So whatever data right now you're using GPT, right? So whenever you try to write some use case or send some data which is more confidential, it is just entering to the LLM. So before that, you need to mask something to data, right? So those type of companies, we pick very small niche problems. That's why we are trying to. There's another company picking a particular problem of data and trying to solve for that. There's another company picking taking all open source model and putting in a production. So these type of different type of ideas are going on. And these are maybe last company which we invested is the state of the college. So these are type of energy and ecosystem is coming up. We are seeing Google is doing a lot of work, Microsoft is doing a lot of work to encourage the ecosystem to learn a lot of new technologies. So as a VC, we are here to make money and we invest in right companies so that they build great technologies and that is going to disturb another large company, right? So that's the idea of investing in a startup. So even Sumesh know how a startup journey is, right? So that type of companies are very important. So keep thinking, how do you approach from a fundamental standpoint to get into the So that's
Yeah. So I think he just gave you complete list of how to think about when you're thinking about a startup. I can just give you the 3 points. That first, you need to define your problem statement. Is it really solving a problem? Do you have the solution for it? If you have the solution for it, then you need to think, can you make money out of it? Will it get you money? Can it be scaled? Not linearly, but exponentially. Otherwise, the X factor will get cancelled out. Then I think then you should start working on it. Now I'll just continue on the same trend, but I'll keep the answers very short. So now I'm going to ask you questions that should have answered in 2 points or 3 points only. So Mohit, I'll continue with you since you were going. So can you tell me that what are the biggest technical hurdles startups face when they are trying to implement the AI into their products and services?
I think specifically if you look at startups, a lot of companies like Google and Microsoft have made it really easy, I would say, to implement a lot of stuff in a cost-effective manner. So earlier, when the cost-effectiveness was one of the key problems, but if you kind of now negate that particular thing, I think it's understanding the market well. Unless you understand the market and you develop some, I would say, extremely extraordinary technique to solve some trivial thing, market would adapt it, right?
Yeah.
Second thing would be, I would say, the manpower that we need to have to build AI. Definitely, we say AI is replacing jobs, but ultimately, it's the humans who are kind of innovating something at a constant pace and bringing some new things. So I think unless OpenAI stops attracting the best talent for much higher cost, we would be having a trouble. We would be facing a lot of troubles in getting the best talent in the market to our companies. So I think these are the key major challenges if I highlight them to as far as the startup is concerned.
Yeah, I think very well put up the 3 points. Mr. Udit, I'll come to you. Like, how come tech giants like Google, when in your first answer you directly emphasized that focus should be on the enterprise? So my question to you now is, how do you bridge the gap between this AI technology and the accessibility to the early age startups, which are just a small company? Short answer, please.
See, I think at Google, our vision is very, very clear that we want to make AI helpful for each and every person and each and every organization in the world. That's our overall vision, right? Now, to answer your question on what things Google is doing, first thing is if I am a startup, I need a startup person, what I need? I need access to this infra. That's the first thing we solve. We are trying to democratize this whole infra. It doesn't matter whether you're using Google models or not. Our infra is such that will allow you to try and experiment different models available, be it open source, be it Google models, or be it a non-Google model. That's the first thing. And even when we are giving you infra, we are also making sure that you will have all those guardrails to use it responsibly. Because responsible AI is something which is very, very fundamental. That's the first thing. The second piece is, if let us say you have an idea, you have got an access to infra, but what you will do if you don't have funds? Right? If you want to start a startup, you need to have to spend on this infra. That's the second thing that we do, and we really take this thing very seriously for retail startups. We have different programs for different startups. Right? The first piece is if you're just fresh out of college, you just registered a company, you can get 1.5 lakh of credits available to you immediately. By the way, I spoke to a professor in the afternoon. We are trying to work out a program for startups, especially to BHU, IIT BHU, where we'll be giving you much more credits, also cloud, so that you can try. Going and it might be 2 lakhs, it will not be in thousands, okay? The third piece is, okay, once you move further in your journey, then once you get funded, then we have many other programs which help you. For example, they gave around 80 lakhs rupees of Google credit for any funded startup. It doesn't matter from where you funded, as long as you funded through organization, you get it. Now we're talking about AI here. For AI startups, if they are funded, we give them 3 crore rupees of cloud. There are lots of startups in India who are actually using it. I can't tell you the name of one startup who spent these many credits within 5 months. Now they are already rich, right? Because we know AI will move very fast. So that's the second thing we are solving, to give you cloud credits. And when I'm saying Google, it's not about Google Cloud. We have many other Google products where we also give credits, or the facilities that are available to you depending on your choice. Like Google Maps, we give Google Maps credits. We also give a lot of Google Ads credits. Sometimes we are in the B2C bank. And the third piece which we are trying to solve is more around the talent fund, the skilling fund. See, AI is a very, very new technology. We all love to work in AI and create new startups, but we still need some enablement here. But at Google, what we're doing is we launched a new program called Innovators Program, where anybody, by the way, we are sending you a QR code soon, maybe tomorrow when she is here, so she can send that, where anybody just scan this QR code, you will have access to all the Google courses on YouTube or on AI. You will get a free access. These are paid courses so that you can train yourself. Second thing, we are also doing is just to make sure that students will learn more and more and practice. Right? So we have other programs. I spoke to your prof. We are thinking how we can make sure that AI become part of their curriculum. So that's the most important thing, right? Although it only cannot be a core course, it has to be elected. But I'm hoping that elected will have more students than the formal course. So let's hope for that once I get more information in the next few weeks. So that's a big area that we have found.
And definitely you all will wait for each information in detail over mail or WhatsApp. I think it's going to definitely send to you all. So
we have Dhanshi here from Google. Please reach out to her. She's anyway coordinating with your team members, but she's the one who's taking care of all the announcement that I did. She's the one who did it. Thanks.
Opportunity that cannot be missed. So Mr. Mohit, now we can see like there's going to be a wave of AI startups that is going to come in the market in the near future. So what role can AI research play in ensuring that ethical and responsible development happens on AI powered startups?
That I think is a very important question, because from the perspective of startups, like of the many challenges that biggest customers face, one of the biggest challenge or one of the biggest stereotype that they have is that as a startup it's very difficult to adhere to responsible AI. Now, responsible AI team can pass into several factors. Like the crowd looking like technician, the simplistic part of it to want to do it. It is like number one, fairness, ethical, unbiased, and then reliable. But as these are applied to different types of AI, different types of applications, their manifestations could change. For example, if you have something called like a generative AI or the text, it could come in the form of deep text that we call it. It should be harmless, honest, and it will helpful. We have talked about different aspects of it, something like these models could do hallucination, they can actually give you advice which could be actually not unsafe for you. They could actually just give you something which is not even relevant to what you're trying to ask. Now, each of these areas has different field of researches dedicated to it to actually solve these particular problems. Now, what is the impact of this on a startup? One is if you are already giving a product to a particular customer or you want to give to a particular customer, despite the fact that you pick mark on all the different pillars of AI. Now, the three pillars of AI that we talked about is number one is the data pillar, which is a very tough time to ask for the startup. Then it's the compute or the working pillar, which I will talk about. The third is the application pillar, so where you're going to apply it. So most of the focus that a particular startup has is on these three pillars of AI because these are very defined pillars and all the VCs and all the customers, the bigger B2B customers actually go and have a very big checklist on these particular aspects. But what actually makes a startup sustainable or would define whether they would actually last a few years or interaction with the customers is on the last pillar, which is on the responsibility. And that is the pillar that at least the stereotype with the customers is that the startup would be very less quickly investing into these things because these things are not shown very easily upfront. Only when you start using it, that is when you realize that these are the problems. So some startups are actually coming up in this area, which actually take cues from the research book or do first-hand research into these areas, and they help other startups or even bigger businesses to actually upload their responsible AI responsibilities for them, actually work in these areas. But at the same time, there are startups which actually start focusing on these areas and then they create a sustainable market for it. And so I think, at least for India, because if we compare like the China model of development and the India model of development, the responsible part, whether it's from the manufacturing or from the AI, is what sets us apart from many other startup ecosystem teams. And this is where, if Indian startups focus, they can create a very reliable and sustainable ecosystem for this.
Yeah, I think we can talk just on and on in this topic. And for you all, this is something, if I just summarize this entire last 25 minutes talk before we take your questions, what you see right now is just the tip of the iceberg. The development is yet to happen and you can be the driver for that in future. And you have all the support that is needed. India is the next, like every part of this world is bullish about India. We have everything favorable to ensure that all the startup culture flourishes. And important is to you think on the right direction, ensure that practices are good. You be the responsible developers of AI and take this ahead. So we see that companies like any company that has made you more productive. Just imagine Google was not there with you all. How hard would have been? How much time it has saved you? Just imagine that Microsoft Office suite was not there with you all from your school age. How difficult it would have been for you all to just write everything down and again, or just keep on looking for those notebooks. Now AI is going to be such an engine for the future on which everything can be built. AI is not the tool. AI is going to be the engine on which lots of tools can be developed. And we wish you best for it. Before we take the concluding statement, any questions? We can take only 2 or 3. So yes, the one who raised his hand first. Yes, speak loudly. And whom do you want to ask that?
Yeah, my question, let me introduce myself. I'm Prateek, I'm a fourth-year electronics engineering undergraduate. My question is for Somesh. In a world where if you throw enough compute to a problem, you'll end up solving it, how do we incentivize smart models, the models which work with less compute and yield better outputs?
That's a great question, Pratik. Let me kind of rephrase the question so that I do understand that what you're saying is, I completely understand what you're saying. So basically, what you're trying to say is, how do you, in a world where there's a lot of compute power, how do you focus on models and make it more efficient? Is it? I think it all comes down to going back to the basics and understanding how usually the APIs that people call out for to work. I'll give a very small example. There's a MIT spin-off company called Find My View. Find My View basically works in giving you results on a primary market research. So like every company needs to do primary market research and every company needs to organize it in one place and take out incentives, right? Basically what Find My View is doing is that it's sending out prompts to ChatGPT, summarizing and incentivizing the key points that have been kind of coming out and putting it in front, right? So ultimately what is happening is you're using the same models that have been developed by these people and using them to kind of train your data set and train your models and come up with a solution for the problem that you're facing, right? This is one approach that you can take with the traditional techniques. However, if FindMyView was a company that could have kind of just looked at how just the elements work and how exactly could they really negate all the other factors that are actually into the elements. So like going back to the basics, understanding even the smallest factor or the smallest technique that has been kind of reinforced into the learning system would have kind of re-established their entire network, and I would say increase the efficiency of what they were really trying to do. So I think it's very important to go back to the basics and understand how exactly are we working. It's not just about having these APIs called for or working with them and creating a product. It's about understanding all those techniques or all those details in the absolute, I would say, zeroth R. I'm not sure if I answered your question. I think Vidit has something to add.
I think one thing, very, very good question, frankly, love this question, but if you see from an industry perspective also, one is this models everybody has built. But think from a, let's say, a company perspective, they want to build solve some application inside their own company. What are the options they have? If they don't want to use an open model or at least a large language model, either they will build a model on their own, which is very, very compute heavy, as you rightly said, not possible. Second option is give the data to the open model, let them again use it and then finally get a solution. That is risky from an enterprise perspective because your own data is going away in the public chain. What is the third option? Which really many people are doing? Use the LLM and fine tune it for your own function. When you fine tune the model, then you will not require that kind of a compute on your own system that you require for the own. So that's what I've seen. Many companies generally they are using the same topic. So at least you don't need to spend too much of bandwidth on building the model. Use what people have done, and then create your own small set of model which is solving your specific problem. That takes care of the otherwise it's a bit of both.
I can add to it because this is one of my personal areas of research as well. So, being in security, the problem is the other way around. We do not have enough data in security to actually even saturate a particular model, leave aside like just keeping it running on the computer to actually do something that you can do. The second aspect to this is the whole, I think, context or the assumption behind this question is that most of the models that add value actually run from the cloud and you have like infinite compute that you can keep giving to the customer. Whereas in real context for the customers, they prefer models which can actually run on their devices, mobile devices or manufacturing or industry perspective on their edge or IoT device. There are a lot of benefits if you actually do that. But the problem with that is you cannot get into a algorithm which requires a lot of different compute to actually do it. So my personal research, at least a part of it, has been into different types of algorithms that doesn't require either a lot of data or a lot of compute to actually produce good results comparable to models which actually require larger models and all. The second aspect of this problem is that the underlying assumption is that you have infinite amount of very good data, such that if you keep giving compute, the model will keep getting better, bigger and better. The problem with that assumption is that if you keep giving a lot of compute to the model with a given amount of data, the model will start getting overfitted on the data and it will produce inferior results than actually better results. So even if you want to make a model better and you have infinite amount of compute, you need that much amount of quality. A very classic example of this is a proof that is given a very classic paper called Chinchillah's theorem, Chinchillah's law. So what is that paper proof is that even OpenAI's GPT model, which we assume is trained on very large amount of data and a very large amount of compute, that itself could be surpassed in terms of performance by a smaller model trained on a smaller compute but better quality data in terms of the number of unique tokens that is trained. So if you actually consider these two hypotheses and the context changes of this particular question, that is not about just the compute, but it's about the efficacy of the algorithm, and that is where we see a lot of different innovation coming out in AI. So for example, we had something called an RNN, or recurrent neural network for different text generation. Why that didn't scale despite that we could have actually thrown a lot of compute on it, and we had tried to throw a lot of compute on it. But the algorithms actually failed to learn a long difference or long chain sequences of data, and they couldn't actually generate that point. So it was not about the compute that we could have thrown, but about the algorithm, about the data, the quality of the data, and the third is application part, how much compute is actually the bottleneck for that particular app.
Okay, I think I've already got almost 5 to 6 WhatsApp messages to wind this session, but nevertheless, you know our names, means you can individually, but mind it, just reach out to us to ask your questions regarding this session, nothing else. I wish you all the very best, and thank you to our esteemed panelists for their insightful perspectives. And yes, let's continue fostering an environment where startups can leverage AI to create solutions that benefit businesses, society, future, and us all. Thank you so much. Okay.
I just want to make an announcement. I'm sure the eCell here currently knows about it, but I'm coaching a collaboration between IIT, BHU and MIT, just not on the entrepreneurial end, but also on the, I would say, the technical end, so that our students can directly work with a lot of labs at MIT. And usually what happens here is that as engineers, we always focus on solving some really core problem, saying that I developed this particular algorithm and got it done, but at times it does not have any market value, right? So that's why the entrepreneurial end and the practices that MIT has been doing in order to foster its own entrepreneurial culture need to come to the picture. So the two collaborations will be one across the entire technical segment, which will have this array right from computer science to environmental engineering, and the second collaboration will be for all the entrepreneurs in the eCell or wherever they have to kind of have this disciplined entrepreneurship practices which have made MIT startup ecosystem what it is today. So I look forward to a lot of your support, starting with a few of the guest talks from MIT and having you all interact directly with the MIT's vibrant community. So cheers.
Yes, thank you so much and best wishes everyone. It was a pleasure interacting with you all.
Thank you, sir. And I especially Udit sir and Sumesh sir, thank you for providing plethora of opportunities for the startups and the education environment in this college. Also, I express deepest gratitude to distinguished panelists that are Mr. Udit G. Goyal sir, Mr. Vivek Prakash sir, Mr. Sumesh Jaiswal sir, Mr. Dhanush Ram sir, and Mr. Mohit Sevak sir. To everyone joining us today, thank you for being a part of this incredible journey. Your enthusiasm and curiosity drive this summit and the spirit of summit. We hope that you find today's panel discussion both enthusiastic and inspiring for all your future ventures. Thank you very much.